Hi everyone, in today's video, I will be discussing a peculiar facet of our existence, the complex system of blood and its circulation throughout an organism's body. This system, which operates silently inside of us, serves as the very lifeline of our bodies. So, to understand it concisely, this video has been organized on the following agenda. Firstly, the circulatory system, secondly, the heart, third, the blood vessels, fourth, the composition of blood, and fifth, common cardiovascular disorders. The starting subject, the circulatory system, can be metaphorically defined as a network of highways, byways, and bridges that ensures the smooth movement of vital resources throughout the city, which is our body. Then the question strikes, why do we need a circulatory system? Well, the answer to that is straightforward. The blood and the circulatory system transport necessary substances for cell functioning like oxygen and glucose around the body, as well as the waste products like carbon dioxide and urea that need to be removed. Various other substances like hormones, antibodies, and even heat is distributed throughout the body by the circulatory system. Circulatory systems can be described as open, meaning the blood is inside the body cavity and bathes the organs, or as closed, meaning the blood is pumped around the body, always contained within a network of blood vessels. Circulatory systems can also be either double, meaning having two loops, one to the lungs and one to the rest of the body, or single, meaning having one loop including the lungs and the whole body. Humans have a closed double circulatory system. The human circulatory system comprises of the heart, blood vessels, and blood. Now let's move on to the structure and function of the human heart. The heart is a hollow muscular organ located in the chest cavity. The heart pumps blood around the body. In one complete circuit, the blood passes through the heart twice. Oxygenated blood from the lungs enters the left side of the heart, which is pumped to the body. This is the systemic circuit. And deoxygenated blood from the body enters the right side of the heart, which is pumped to the lungs. This is the pulmonary circuit. The heart is divided into four chambers. The two top chambers are called atria, while the two bottom ones are called ventricles. The wall of the left ventricle is thicker than the wall of the right ventricle, and it has to pump blood to the whole body at a great pressure. A wall of muscle called septum separates the two sides of the heart. Valves are present in the heart to prevent the backflow of blood and maintain the correct pressure of blood in the heart. There are two atrioventricular valves in the heart, one separating the left atrium from the left ventricle, known as the bicuspid valve, and one separating the right atrium from the right ventricle, known as the tricuspid valve. There are also two semilunar valves in the heart, one separating the right ventricle and the pulmonary artery, known as the pulmonary valve, and the other separating the left ventricle from the aorta, called the aortic valve. There are two blood vessels that bring blood into the heart. The vena cava brings blood from the body to the heart, and the pulmonary vein brings blood from the lungs to the heart. There are two blood vessels that take blood away from the heart. The aorta transports blood to the whole body, while the pulmonary artery takes blood to the lungs. The cardiac muscle of the heart itself is supplied with blood by a series of blood vessels called the coronary arteries and veins. The cardiac cycle is a series of contractions and relaxations of the heart muscle that take place in one heartbeat. Each cardiac cycle is followed by another with no gaps in between. In this way, blood is moved from the heart to the body and back to the heart. The cardiac cycle is as follows. Deoxygenated blood from the body enters the right atrium through the vena cava. At the same time, oxygenated blood from the lungs enters the left atrium through the pulmonary vein. The walls of the atria contract, forcing the blood through the tricuspid valve into the right ventricle and through the bicuspid valve into the left ventricle. Then the ventricles contract, forcing blood from the right ventricle through the pulmonary valve into the pulmonary artery to be carried to the lungs for gas exchange. At the same time, the left ventricle forces blood through the aortic valve into the aorta. The thicker muscle wall of the left ventricle produces great enough pressure for the blood to be carried to all parts of the body. Now let's move towards the next topic, blood vessels. There are three main types of blood vessels in our body: arteries, veins, and capillaries. Arteries carry oxygenated blood away from the heart at a high pressure to all parts of the body, except for the pulmonary artery, which carries deoxygenated blood from the heart to the lungs. Arteries have thick muscular walls containing elastic fibers to withstand the high pressure of blood and maintain the blood pressure as it recoils. Arteries also have a narrow lumen which helps to maintain the pressure. Arteries branch into smaller blood vessels called arterioles which transport blood into the capillaries. Veins carry deoxygenated blood back to the heart at low pressure, except for the pulmonary vein, which carries oxygenated blood from the lungs to the heart. Veins have thin walls. Veins have a large lumen, which reduces the resistance to blood flow as it is at a low pressure. Veins also have valves which prevent the backflow of blood as it is in a low pressure. Venules are narrower blood vessels that transport blood from the capillaries to the veins. And lastly, capillaries transport both deoxygenated and oxygenated blood to within tissues at a low pressure. The walls of capillaries are 1 cell thick, enabling substances to easily diffuse in and out of them through a short diffusion distance. Capillaries have leaky walls that allow blood plasma to leak out and form tissue fluid surrounding cells. Next, let's take a look at the composition of blood. Over half the volume of blood is made of plasma. Plasma is a straw-colored liquid in which the other components of blood are suspended within. It is important for the transport of several substances like carbon dioxide, digested food, mineral ions, urea, hormones, and heat energy. The majority of the other half consists of red blood cells, which are specialized cells that carry oxygen to respiring cells. They are adapted for this function in three main ways. They are in the shape of biconcave discs, which increases the surface area to volume ratio, and they contain no nucleus but plenty of the protein hemoglobin. The remaining fraction consists of white blood cells and platelets. White blood cells are specialized cells that are part of the body's immune system and are tasked with the defense against pathogenic microorganisms. Platelets are fragments of cells that are involved with blood clotting and forming a scab when the skin is cut or punctured. Blood clotting prevents continuous blood loss from wounds, and the scab formation prevents entry of pathogens. The mention of blood clotting brings us to our final phase, common cardiovascular disorders. Blood clotting and a buildup of fatty material plaque, known as atheroma, can lead to diseases like coronary heart disease, atherosclerosis, deep vein thrombosis, etc., and even strokes and heart attacks. In coronary heart disease, fatty materials, atheromas, and blood clots build up inside coronary arteries. If a coronary artery gets blocked, it restricts blood flow to the cardiac muscle, reducing the delivery of oxygen and respiration in the affected cells. As a result, energy cannot be released, so the heart cannot contract, leading to a heart attack. Obesity, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, and smoking are common risk factors that lead to coronary heart disease. Stroke, which is a sudden loss of brain function in a localized area, occurs when a blood clot blocks arteries supplying oxygen to the brain, so the cells cannot produce ATP, reducing their function. In deep vein thrombosis, a blood clot forms in a vein deep in the body, commonly veins in the legs. Causes include prolonged inactivity, old age, and some medications. Finally, atherosclerosis is a cardiovascular disease characterized by the accumulation of lipids, cholesterol, macrophages, and platelets, which calcify and harden within arteries, narrowing and stiffening them over time. These plaques can restrict blood flow and increase the risk of heart attacks, strokes, and other cardiovascular problems. Well, that's the end of this video. I hope this video was helpful for your Edexcel IGCSE biology revision. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask me in the comments. And if this video was helpful for you, do give it a like and subscribe. I'll see you all next time. Bye!